What is going on YouTube, and welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank you all so much for joining me for this being my review for RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11 Episode 1. Before we get started, I got a couple things to shout out real quick. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big white subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. Takes less than a second to mash that thing, so go ahead and mash it for a brother. Also, be sure to press the thumbs up for this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this first episode of the 11th season of All-Stars. Who are your favorites? Who were you excited to see back? Who do you think is going to make it to the semifinals from the first bracket? Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And last but not least, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. So RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11 is here. I have to say, I was so disappointed when I saw that they were doing the bracket system again. And I'm not sure if I explained this for All-Stars 10, but I don't like the bracket system because I don't feel as though it gives every single queen the opportunity, or an equal opportunity rather, to make it into the semifinals. There are only 3 challenges that each bracket gets to do in the first round. And there's no telling if the challenges in each week are catered to your strengths. And so, for instance, I was really rooting for Olivia Lux on All Stars 10. She's one of my favorite queens of all time on RuPaul's Drag Race, and the challenges, were not things that she was necessarily the best at. And so she wasn't able to make it into the semifinals. So, if you're a sewing queen and you've got a sewing challenge in your group, in your bracket, then chances are you'll be able to get those points. But if you're not a good sewer, or let's say you've got a comedy challenge or improv challenge that you're not really good at, and that is one of the 3 challenges you have to do, chances are you're not going to get into the semifinals. So for me, I don't care for the bracket system because of that. Whereas if you had just a regular format for the season, where there are more challenges, and there's a better chance of you being able to get a top spot in one of those weeks. But anyways, here we go with this week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each queen individually, how I thought they did on the challenge, how I thought their runway was, and then I'll talk about the placements thereafter. So first up, we have Dawn from season 16. Dawn has never been my favorite. The elf ears are, just her thing. But, for me, it's like, Dawn is just not my type of queen whatsoever. However, I will say in the challenge, they're doing the electric breakdance Rugaloo for the first challenge, and I thought Dawn's outfit for the challenge was great. I really did love Dawn's challenge look. I did like her verses. I did feel as though she did deserve to be in the top 2. But it is what it is. And as far as her LaToya look, because LaToya Jackson is the guest judge for the first episode of All Stars 11, and they have to do a look that was inspired by something that LaToya Jackson had worn. So this outfit that Dawn wore for the LaToya runway is the best that I've ever seen Dawn. The best I've ever seen Dawn. And something that Nina Bonita Brown pointed out in her review of the Meet the Queens, shout out to Nina Bonita Brown. She's my favorite queen that does reviews on the show. It seems like Dawn is padding a little bit. She's giving us a little bit of body. We saw a breastplate on her during her LaToya runway. So I thought Dawn did very good. And, so far there are 2 episodes out for All Stars 11 thus far. And right now it seems like Dawn is going to make it into the semifinals. So we'll see whether that happens or not. Would I be happy with it? I don't know if I necessarily care, because there's really only one queen in this bracket that I really like. Sort of kind of 2. I sort of kind of like 2, but there's one queen that I'm really rooting for, and hopefully she will get to the semifinals. But anyways, I thought Dawn did a great job. I felt like her top placement for this week was justified. So shout out to Dawn. Then we have Morgan McMichaels. Morgan McMichaels is originally from season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Then she went on to All Stars 3. So Morgan's rap was decent. I can't say that she I don't know. I don't have that much of an opinion about Morgan, other than the fact that I feel as though she has the hardest face on RuPaul's Drag Race, and I just wish that she would soften her face just a little bit because, especially during her Latoya Jackson runway, the face is giving hard. It's giving brick. It's giving pavement. It's giving not soft, and I wish that Morgan would soften up her look a bit. And the thing is, sometimes she's softer than other times. And so I wish she would do the softer makeup a lot more often. But, anyways, Morgan McMichael's rap was decent, I guess. Nothing really to write home about, at least in my opinion. But she ended up in the top two. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Morgan being in the top two, but hey, it is what it is. Morgan was there. As far as Morgan's Latoya Jackson outfit, I felt like it looked great. Other than the fact that her face was a little hard, and also the fact that it looked like she had painted herself darker. And thankfully, when I saw Nina Bonita Brown's review for the first episode, she felt the same way. So I'm glad that I just wasn't seeing things. But that kind of threw me off a little bit, and I hated the hair for her Latoya look. I hated it, but the actual outfit itself looked amazing. It looked like almost an exact replica of what Latoya Jackson was wearing. So shout out to Morgan, and yeah, she did okay. She did okay, at least in my opinion. Again, I don't feel as though she deserved to be in the top two, but hey, it is what it is. RuPaul makes a lot of decisions I don't agree with, so it is what it is. But anyways. Next up, we have Lucky Stars. Lucky Stars is from season 17 of RuPaul's Drag Race. She's coming back pretty quickly. I'm not expecting for Lucky Stars to make it to the semifinals, and especially since I've seen the first two episodes, she's definitely not getting into the semifinals. But I do enjoy Lucky Stars as an artiste. Um, I have a hard time really calling it drag because in my opinion drag is the illusion of a man dressing up as a woman, and Lucky Stars, a lot of times when we see her, she really isn't trying to be a woman necessarily. It's more costume. It's more, she uses cardboard a lot. She uses different things to be very artistic. And so she's definitely an artiste, but a lot of times she doesn't go for the girl look. Now, I will say on these first two episodes, we are seeing a little bit more of the drag side of Lucky Stars, which I am happy with on one end, but on the other end, the makeup has got to be better. She's got to do better with the makeup. I don't know if she's just not used to doing pretty girl makeup, but it's her makeup is very out there, which is great if that's what your aesthetic is. But when you're trying to, kind of bring it down a little bit and just do the normal girl looks, you got to have those skills too. And I guess it doesn't look like she necessarily has those skills. I did think that Lucky Stars' rap was great. I thought Lucky Stars did a great job on her rap. I thought she could have been in the top two. I'm not sure exactly why Morgan was picked over her, but she I thought she did great for her rap. Now for her Latoya look, I did love the big hat. That's very Latoya of her. I liked the wig. I didn't necessarily like the way that the hat was sitting on top of the wig personally, and also her paint was very light. And I know that Latoya is a little bit lighter of a lighter skin tone, but I did not like Lucky's makeup on the runway for her Latoya look at all. And the same goes for her look during the rap during the electric boogaloo type thing. Like she's painting herself when she's doing her regular makeup. She's painting herself very light. And I don't like that because she's already light skinned as it is. So she doesn't need to paint herself lighter. It just needs to be a little bit more feminine. So, it is what it is. But I did like the Latoya Jackson outfit. I did think that it did meet the brief. I know, La Roche was saying that it didn't necessarily look expensive. I always hate that critique on RuPaul's Drag Race. I expected for a show like Project Runway, but for RuPaul's Drag Race, it's like everyone doesn't have access to money like that to be able to get the most, expensive outfits or the most expensive gowns. So I've always hated that critique on the runway. I guess it is justified in a way because we're on national TV, but I just personally don't like that because some queens have more means or access to funds than others. So It is what it is, but there's lucky stars for you. Next up, we have Morphine Love Dion. Morphine Love Dion is from season 16. I don't know if she's identifying as trans because she's giving very girl in the confessionals, which is cute for her. I have to say that I am happy to see Morphine back. Uh, to me, I feel as though she's always had the best paint on RuPaul's Drag Race and RuPaul's Drag Race history. I've always loved the way that Morphine has painted her face. It's not only girly, but it's very drag. It's very a whole lot of stuff on the face, and I've always loved that about Morphine. I actually liked, contrary to what Michelle thought about her look on the run on during the challenge, during the Electric Boogaloo challenge. She said that she looked like a ghetto Snow White. I don't know how I feel about that. But I did like Morphine's look on the runway. I really did like her look on on during the challenge. I thought it was very hip hop, very Vanjie. I did like that. And as far as her Latoya Jackson runway, I loved her Latoya Jackson runway. It actually looked like an exact replica of Latoya's look, and so I did very much enjoy that as well. So shout out to Morphine for her looks. And again, the paint is always top notch for me. For me, so that's what we've got with Morphine. So we've done Morphine, Morgan, Dawn, Lucky. And so next we have Akira Chanel Davenport. I will have to say Akira is my favorite queen on this bracket. I loved her on season 11, although I didn't watch it live. When I rewatched it, when I watched it for the first time, I did love her. I've always loved Akira's aesthetic. She's a very much a pageant queen. Pageant queens have always been my favorite on RuPaul's Drag Race. I've always loved me a pageant queen because they're almost always the most put together. And I like me a put together type queen. I don't like those crunchy type queens who are, although I did love Darlene this season, those are typically not the type of queens that I would go for on RuPaul's Drag Race. But Akira is my favorite in this bracket for sure so far. So I thought Akira's rap was okay. She's not the best rapper, at least in my opinion. I did like her outfit during the challenge. But once I heard the rap, I knew that she wasn't going to be in the top two. So, I did enjoy her Latoya Jackson look. To be honest, she had my favorite Latoya Jackson look. The hair was huge. I loved the big hair. I loved that big hair. The dress was really, really super duper cute. The big bow on the front, the trumpet skirt at the bottom. I understand why Latoya said that she wished that the skirt was a little bit longer, but I don't think that the skirt would have been able to bounce and behave the way it was if it was long, if it had gone all the way down to the floor. I thought that it was the perfect length. I thought that it was the perfect dress. I've always loved Akira's aesthetic as a drag queen, and she did not disappoint me whatsoever, at least not in the first two episodes. But of course, Akira was not in the top two. I don't think that these type of musical challenges are in Akira's wheelhouse necessarily, but thankfully there's a design challenge right around the corner. So shout out to Akira. And our final queen in this bracket is Mystique Summers. Mystique Summers from season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race. I was shocked to see that she was back. However, I was not necessarily expecting much out of Mystique because we really didn't see much of her in her initial season 2 appearance. So um, Mystique was not so good on the lip sync during the challenge. And I also did not like her outfit during the challenge either. It was just this black jump sweatsuit with blonde braids. And everyone else was so colorful. And then we have Mystique over here with this black tracksuit, and it's like, what are you doing here? So, the camera really wasn't getting too close up on her face, and I think it's because she did not know her words. And then let's get to the Latoya Jackson runway of it all. The weird thing about Mystique's runway was I feel as though the nude illusion was actually her, like close to her skin tone, but it looked so much like nude illusion. Like it just looked, it didn't look like skin. It looked like fabric or it looked like foam or something like that. I don't know. It just did not look like an illusion. It looked like actual fabric on a dress. Like it was, I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. But once again, I wasn't expecting much out of Mystique Summers. And it's no shade. It's just I don't know what she's capable of, in a good way. I don't know what she's capable of. So, Mystique didn't do that well, at least not in the first week. So the top two, once again, are Dawn and Morgan. Dawn and Morgan lip sync to a LaToya Jackson song that I had never heard of, and Morgan McMichaels wins the lip sync. So Morgan has 3 points, Dawn has 2 points, and the rest of the ladies have 0 points until we get to next week's or episode two's review, where I'll tell you guys where the points went. So Morgan wins the lip sync, and week 1 of All Stars 11 is out of the way. Make sure you guys join me every Thursday night at 8 p.m. for my live Hot Topics and Social Commentary show. I go live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. with my sister Prophetic Fire Reiki, as well as our friend Bianca Edwards. We always have a great time talking about the latest happenings and goings on in the world. So join us every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Love you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next review. Take care.